Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered, where did all of this come from? Or held a tiny seed in your hand and marveled at the giant tree it could become? These are some of the biggest questions we ask, and for thousands of years, people have found a profound and beautiful answer in the opening pages of the Bible. Today, we're journeying back to the very beginning to explore the story of creation as told in Genesis chapters 1 and 2. Now, whether you see this as literal history, beautiful poetry, or a divine metaphor, the story of Genesis offers a powerful message about order, purpose, and our place in the universe. So let's dive in. The beginning, there was no beginning as we know it. The Bible describes a formless, empty, and dark void. Imagine pure chaos. But then a voice speaks. The Spirit of God hovers over the waters, and with the first divine command, everything changes. Let there be light, and just like that, light floods the darkness. God separates the light from the darkness, calling the light day, and the darkness night. This is the first day. It's not just about a cosmic light switch being flipped. It's about bringing order out of chaos, distinction out of a formless mess. This sets the pattern for the entire creation week. God speaks, and reality rearranges itself to obey. On day two, the organization continues. God separates the waters, creating an expanse, what we'd call the sky, between the waters above and the waters below. This creates the atmosphere, a space for life to eventually exist. Think about it. A breathable, livable world is being carefully prepared, step by step. Day three is a double feature of creativity. First, God gathers the waters together, allowing dry ground to appear. He calls the dry ground land and the gathered waters seas, and God saw that it was good. But He's not done. On this same day, the land is commanded to produce life, vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees, bearing fruit. Suddenly, the barren earth is bursting with green, with potential, with the promise of food and sustenance. Now, pause for a moment and notice the rhythm. Day one was light. Day four will be the light bearers. Day two was sky and seas. Day five will fill them. Day three was the land. Day six will populate it. There's a beautiful, elegant structure to this story. So on day four, God looks at the light He created and gives it a home. He says, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night. He creates the sun to govern the day, the moon to govern the night, and the stars. These aren't just for illumination. They are for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. They are the celestial clockwork that gives rhythm to our lives even today. Day five arrives, and it's time to fill the spaces created on day two. The waters, which were separated, are now commanded to teem with living creatures. The oceans, lakes, and rivers suddenly swarm with life of all kinds. At the same time, the sky is filled with birds flying above the earth. And for the first time, God blesses them, saying, be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters in the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. Life is not just created, it's meant to flourish. Then comes the grand crescendo, day six. The land that sprouted plants on day three is now ready for its inhabitants. God speaks, and the earth brings forth living creatures of every kind, livestock, creeping things, and beasts of the earth. The world is now teeming with a vibrant, diverse ecosystem. But the masterpiece of day six is yet to come. God says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. This is a profound shift. Everything else was spoken into existence, but humanity is described as being personally crafted in the very image of God. This image isn't about physical appearance. It's about being given the capacity to create, to love, to reason, and to have a relationship with our Creator. God forms the first man, Adam, from the dust of the ground and breathes into his nostrils the breath of life. He places him in a beautiful garden called Eden, a paradise filled with every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. His job? To work it and to keep it, to be a steward of this perfect creation. But God observes it is not good that the man should be alone. And so, in an act of deep intimacy, God causes Adam to fall into a deep sleep, takes one of his ribs, and fashions a woman, Eve. When Adam sees her, he recognizes her as part of himself, saying, this at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. They were two parts of a whole, created for companionship and partnership. And so, the 6 days of creation are complete. The universe is ordered, the earth is filled, and humanity is placed as its caretakers. On the seventh day, God doesn't create, He rests. He blesses the seventh day and makes it holy. This isn't a rest of exhaustion, it's a rest of completion and satisfaction. It's an invitation for us to pause, to enjoy the fruits of our labor, and to connect with our Creator. So, what does this ancient story mean for us today? It tells us that the universe is not an accident. It was designed with purpose and care. It tells us that every part of creation, from the smallest insect to the largest star, has value in God's eyes. And most importantly, it tells us that we are special. We are not just another species. We are made in the image of God, given a unique responsibility to care for this world and for one another. The story of Genesis 1 and 2 is a foundation. It's a story of beginnings that gives our own lives meaning, purpose, and a sense of belonging in this vast, wonderful cosmos. It's a reminder that we are part of a grand, beautiful design. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to the beginning. It's a story that has shaped the world, and I hope it's given you something new to think about. If you enjoyed this exploration, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into stories that shape our world. We'd love to have you as part of our community. See you in the next video.